Hello, namaste, blessings, beautiful soul, wealthy soul, welcome in. We're here with another vibration of wealth. This one is in honor of our History Month. I'm going to be focusing on three individuals that I consider as wealth builders. So tune your vibration to the sounds and the tones of wealth and wellness and all that good jazz. So let me just take a moment, put on our wealth vibration as we allow our people that are coming in to come into the chat and let us just celebrate and get into vibration of well. So welcome in, like, share this out, and let's get into it. Alrighty. So let's get into this wealth vibration. Before we even get into that, we always have to breathe, bring ourselves present, bring ourselves in this moment of learning, engaging, and exchanging truth. Okay? Now, the first person I'm going to talk about is Mansa Musa. And for those of you that are on YouTube, I put a poll in the chat asking if you've ever heard of him because a lot of us who took traditional education, public school, we may not have heard of him. And, his information is now becoming familiar to many of us. So if you've heard of him, kudos. If you haven't, it's understandable. So don't even sweat it. But I'm just curious to know how many of us have heard about him. So why I chose to speak about Mansa Musa in this particular broadcast is because he is someone from our past, right? And the other two people are currently with us in this timeline, in this lifetime. He's way before many of us, well, all of us were born. He ruled the Mali dynasty between I think it was 1312 to about 1337, and he pretty much is the wealthiest person, the richest person that ever lived, as far as we know. they're not even able to really, there's no accurate figure on how much he really was worth altogether, but sometimes you see it might come up to over $400 billion. Now, his wealth, the amount that he had, right, compared to, let's see, our current billionaires, their stuff is like a spit in the bucket combined to what he had. So imagine what his worth is in today's currency, in today's money. It's just amazing. One of the reasons I'm doing this particular stream is to encourage my Afrocentric brothers and sisters to understand that our history goes beyond slavery. That's not where our history begins. Yes, it's part of our history, and we acknowledge all of our history. But this is to help to encourage us and to understand that we are from a period before that. That's just a small part of our history. Wealth is in your DNA. Wealth is in your vibration. You just gotta tune into it, tap into it. Remember who you are. And may this also serve as encouragement for anyone that might be feeling poor. Doesn't matter what you look like. If you're in that vibration of poverty and poverty mindset and it just keeps hitting you and hitting you, remember who you are. Understand that we are wealthy beings. We have the ability to create and to build wealth. We just got to start believing it at first and taking the steps necessary. Bless you, baby, to do what we need to do. Okay, so I'm gonna play. I'm gonna do things a little different tonight. So bear with me if there's any tech glitches or so. I'm going to play this video so that we can actually no. Before I play the video, let me share my screen because I want to show some information on Mansa Musa, so we can tap into that vibration a little bit more. He was at, and Mansa is not a name. Mansa is a title. It's like king, and he ruled over Mali. He had so much gold that when he visited other countries, they became bankrupt. They didn't know how to handle all that he was giving out because he was just giving gold away. Can you imagine that? His gifts, which is another reason, and I know I just skipped to something totally different. It's another reason to understand how to distribute wealth, how to give wisely. Because you don't want to bankrupt states and countries and stuff because of the way you're given. So we need to find wise ways to give. So this is important so that we learn from each other. Okay, so it looks like I'm not able to share that screen, but that's okay. That's okay. The whole vibration of bringing him on was just to really share the fact that, we are wealthy beings, and that's part of who we are. We're just naturally creative and know how to make things happen. So, moving forward to today's age, we have to know how to apply the wisdom along with what's naturally inside of us. Be current with what's happening around us. How do we apply the knowledge, the wisdom, and everything that we've gone through to make things today better and brighter for us and for our children and our children's children and so forth? How do we make that generational shift in the mindset? How do we tap in and remember who we are? Studying history is one way. Understanding history is another way. And I know some of us say, oh gosh, history is boring, but you don't need to get into the details of remembering dates and exactly how things happen. Like, no one really has a true record of history. Like, let's be real. I wasn't there, you weren't there. Sometimes people can just, assume logically this might have happened based on, certain evidence and stuff. Because a lot of records, information got lost. And that's just the truth. So don't get so caught up as to, okay, understanding every single detail, but the overall picture, the important things that impacts you and your family, that impacts our community. All right, so let's move on to Robert Smith. Right now, Robert Smith, his network is about, I believe, 13.5 billion. And last time I checked, he's supposed to be the richest black man, the richest brown skinned man, the richest melanated man, the richest African man in America. But he's not the richest black man or richest melanated person in the world. And we'll find out who that is after we just dig into him a little bit. So let's get familiar with him. I'm going to play this clip here, and then we're going to talk about it and talk about this amazing, wonderful man.
But nowhere is structural racism more apparent than in corporate America. And in the case of, and I'll walk through a couple of industries, or at least one industry, the deprivation of capital is one of the areas that creates a major problem to the enablement in African American communities, Latinx communities, et cetera. And I think when you think about the idea of reparative, restorative, and regenerative capital, how do you do that? How do you do it effectively? Well, as we were working to re-architect what I'll call the ability to deliver the payroll protection loans through the CARES Act, and enabling a lot of our community development financial institutions and minority-owned banks to deliver capital into these communities, we discovered a few things. One is, that structural racism in the financial services community. There's about 4,700 banks in America. Only 21% only 21 are Black owned, and they have less than 5 billion in assets. And the total amount of assets in the U.S. commercial banks is 20 trillion. So if you think about structural racism and access to capital, and 70% of African American communities don't even have a branch bank of any type in those communities, we said, well, why don't we think about how do we address it? Well, one of the first things to do is put capital into those branch banks to lend to these small businesses to actually create an opportunity set. And so if you look at, top 10 banks, $970 billion over the last 10 years of net income. What if you took 2% a year from every one of those banks and said, let's drive that 2% into call it the regenerative activity of these CDFIs and MDIs, these small, I call them capillary banks. What effect could that be? Well, there's a number of things that happen. One, it drives, this into the communities. It drives it into these small businesses, which employ 60+% of African Americans anyway, these small businesses. And the average American family gives away 2%. Of course, our Giving Pledge members give away a lot more than that. But, 2% feels like the right number, but you do it over 10 years, 2% a year of net income. You can do it through a foundation so that you get, some tax benefits across that. But you use that to not only enable a capital infusion into the banking systems and the businesses, but you also have those banks adopt and provide technical assistance and enablement assistance to help those banks actually build more capacity. Those banks don't bank those communities. And so part of me is, all right, here's your responsibility to become more thinking about stakeholder capitalism as opposed to shareholder capitalism. And you can do that across multiple industries. You can do it in healthcare. You can do it in financial services. You can do it in sports. And I think that's the solution. So what I'm in the process of doing is
are you talking about
go
allocation?
ahead, yeah.
Are you talking about allocations or donations?
It can be both. If you think about it, you can actually donate it to a foundation that actually now drives it into tier one capital effectively in the financial services industry. So there's different ways to do it. Some you can go direct into the industry. You have to have a place to receive it. But there's food deserts in these same communities. Well, fine. Let's look at the biggest. If it's the Walmarts and Amazons and Whole Foods. Say, okay, let's think about corporate responsibility into those communities to drive more effective distribution of high quality food and high quality low cost foods in those same communities. But that's corporations taking that level of responsibility. So I've been, socializing this with members of the Business Roundtable, World Economic Forum, church leaders, private equity titans, our philanthropic friends, the Giving Pledge, et cetera, youth groups, and the number of our call it social activists, to see if we can build the right sort of coalition to say this is the right thing to do. And the federal government can play a part in this, but I think we need to have the whole community of business leaders now step up and say, let's do our part.
And do you see this as a public pledge kind of thing, or just something that you do because it's the right thing to do and you do it quietly, but you do it?
I think you do it, but I think if we get the right leaders in each of the industries, they will take pride in what they are doing. They will inspire their other industry, call it competitors, to do the exact same thing. I hope there will be a competition ultimately amongst them to say, let's drive this. Who can create the most efficient way to drive their industry expertise, capital, and revitalization capital into each of the industries in these communities? I think that will show Americans there is hope. There is an opportunity for the American dream to now be revitalized, and frankly, give us all confidence that we can actually make this a better country and a better place to live.
All right. So that was a little bit about, him talking about how corporations can help to make a difference, an impactful difference. Some of the things that he does, right? He's a philanthropist. He gives back. He gives back big time. And you can see based on how he's smiling and how enthused he is about, his ideas, that he really truly cares about giving back to the community and creating a better world for all of us. So wealth is not just your money. It's also about, your spirituality, what you're doing, how you're giving back, how you're helping others. When you make it, I believe it's your duty to help others as well, whether it's by sharing information or giving a handout to those who may need it. But remember to give wisely as well. Okay? So one of the things that he does, he's a investor, right? He's an investor, a businessman, a philanthropist. And what he does, his company, they invest in software companies. So he's like a private equity type of person. I believe he has maybe over 500 companies or so within his conglomerate of companies, if you want to call it that. But, he's doing a lot of positive things for the community. And he is someone that I really admire. And I'm actually surprised. It took me a while because, many of us may not know him. If you know him, shout out and kudos to you. I only got familiar with him maybe a couple of years ago. I was not aware of his work, his position and the things that he's doing to improve the economy of our people. So kudos to you, Robert. So let me stop sharing this one. And then we'll go on to Alkia Dangate. Now, Alkia Dangate, he's actually, as far as, the last time I checked, the richest, let's see, here he is. The richest Black man or the richest African man in the world, the richest brown skinned person in the world. And you see, sometimes I change the words I say, whether it be melanated, African, or Black, because, like Black is a color. So it's a beautiful color, but no one is really Black. So, hey. So here he is. And what he does, right? Actually, his grandfather, he came out of a wealthy type of family because his grandfather, before he died, I believe in 1955, he was the richest man in the country at that time, the richest man in Africa at that time. So I guess it's no wonder. And I'm saying that to say that for those of us that are hearing this, those of us that are exposed to wealth vibrations and wealth education, that you might want to set this up so that your children have the opportunity to see how wealth is and to, give them that stepping stool, that springboard, so they can spring off and not only become wealthy, but be one of the wealthiest people, like truly wealthy, not just by the coins, but spiritually, emotionally, relationship wise, and with all the wonderful things that you can help them do by being a great example of true wealth to your children. All right. So I believe he started off owning a concrete company, one of the biggest concrete companies on the continent. And he also did oil refinery. And what was the other thing that he did? Let me see. And oh, he had a fertilizer plant. And of course, there's other stuff that he does. Your homework, what I encourage you to do is not just look at all of these wealthy people and say, oh, whatever, great for them. Oh, yeah, okay, I see him, he's wealthy, or yeah, he's one of us. It's bigger than that. Study them, understand, understand their principles, their lifestyle, understand what it took for them to get there, understand their mindset. Success always leaves clues. So read up about them, research them, get to understand some of the steps they took to get to where they need to get. Study the wealthy so that you can cultivate some of those habits for yourself so that you can really truly be wealthy in this lifetime, here and now. And don't just narrow it down to brown skinned people. Study the other folks as well. Study every wealthy person that, maybe you admire or know of. I only did brown skinned folks in this particular stream because I'm focused on African, you know, History Month or Black History Month, our story. So make sure that you study the wealthy vibrations, study the rich, understand some of the things they do, the steps they take, the lifestyle they live, how giving and generous they are, so that you know what it takes to build lasting wealth. You got this. So, for my people that are coming after, or even those of you that are in the chat now, I see you. Hello, welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. Understand this. You can do it. You have the ability to do what it takes to live your best life. And what I invite you to do is leave 2 or 3 names of wealthy people that you admire. When this stream ends, leave a few names of people that you admire. And take it deeper than that. Don't just leave the names of the people you admire. Study those people. Study those wealthy people. Some of the wealthiest people don't even have a TV in their home because they're focused on stuff that really matters. Don't get sidetracked with entertainment and, I'm not saying don't have fun, enjoy this life, but also remember to be focused. Those people that are entertaining you, they're making they're not making, only certain people make money, but they're earning a lot of money entertaining us. And entertainment is great, it's necessary. But understand that that should not be 90% of the thing that you consume or take into your mind. Understand what you need to do, what you need to dedicate your time and your energies to, so that you can step up into a bigger and better life for yourself and for your family. Maybe you're the gatekeeper, maybe you're the door opener for your family. And these people that I've also highlighted because they didn't get wealthy or rich due to entertaining others or sports, which is also entertainment. And I'm saying that to just make it clear that that's not the only way for our brown skinned people to earn money. It's not just about entertainment, sports, and what's not or being on TV. Business, investing, getting the right knowledge, tapping into your passion, your true desires, what you're here to do. Sexy toy lady. Hey, 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 Sissy Poo. So tap into the vibrations that are right for you and understand that wealth is in your DNA. I'm looking forward to seeing the names of at least two people that you admire that are wealthy. We're talking billionaires or multi-billionaires. You can look at the millionaires too, but if there's billionaires around, why look at the millionaires, right? Go for the big one. But all jokes aside, if there's someone that you really admire and they're a multimillionaire, that's okay. Drop their names and then study them. Study, study, study. Remember, again, I'll repeat this: success always leave clues. So study your people, come back and share with the community, because when we share with the community, we all learn and grow from it. So remember, we are a tribe of togetherness. We're a tribe of love and high wealth vibrations. I just want to say thank you all for coming through. Please make sure you like and you share this on your way out. I do appreciate you. I want to thank you for your time and the energy. For those of you that are moon lovers, I will see you tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, for the full moon in Virgo. So, for those of you that I will not see until next week, I wish you a wonderful weekend. I wish you a wonderful day, evening, whenever you're seeing this. Take good care of yourself and remember, you are wealthy, you are healthy, and you are wise. Whatever you're going through on this journey, it is meant for you to go through so that you can come through it evolved, better, more seasoned, and ready for your next levels. See you on the next one.